If you've ever posted a YouTube video and have gotten nothing but radio silence, zero patient inquiries, zero calls, zero traction, it's critical that you understand what I'm about to tell you. This isn't a YouTube problem, this is a system problem. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly why physician YouTube attempts fail and what the ones that actually work have in common. I've spent 15 years inside the medical industry. I've worked with physicians across orthopedics, ophthalmology, concierge medicine, and implant dentistry. I've built content systems for some of the most accomplished surgeons in the country. And in that time, I've seen the same pattern play out over and over again. A physician decides to invest in their digital presence. They buy the equipment, they film trendy videos, post them, and fervently refresh the page to watch the metrics climb up, but then nothing. A few views, maybe a subscriber or two, probably a colleague or a family member, but no patient inquiries, no movement. And the conclusion they draw is almost always the same. YouTube doesn't work for my specialty. But let me tell you plainly, that conclusion is wrong, and it's costing practitioners just like you patients every single month. YouTube absolutely works for physicians no matter how niche your specialty is. The case studies prove it. An orthopedic surgeon with 25 years of experience, completely invisible online, built a YouTube-led patient acquisition system that generated consistent inbound leads and converted multiple concierge surgical cases within 90 days. And all this contributed to a campaign period that produced 6 figures in concierge revenue. And that YouTube system is still generating patient leads to this day. Wisconsin ophthalmology practice saw a 180% increase in surgical volume and is now ranked #1 worldwide for premium intraocular lens technology. These aren't outliers, they're what happens when YouTube is built correctly. The physicians who tried and got nothing didn't fail because YouTube doesn't work for their specialty, they failed because they skipped the foundation. There's a framework I use with every physician I work with. I call it the invisible expert stack. It describes the 5 barriers that keep world-class physicians invisible online, even when their outcomes are remarkable, even when they're committed to the process, even when they genuinely try. In my experience, physicians who want to grow their brand through organic content on YouTube hit a snag on several, if not all 5 of these barriers in the invisible expert stack. Let me walk you through each one. Barrier 1, awareness. At the 101 level, most physicians don't even realize that YouTube is a search engine. They see it as social media, a place for influencers, lifestyle content, or entertainment. They approach it with social media logic. Post consistently, build a following, go viral, but YouTube isn't social media. It's the 2nd largest search engine in the world. When your patient types, "What is the light adjustable lens?" or "knee replacement recovery, what to expect?" YouTube surfaces results the same way Google does. The difference is that you are not only getting the benefits of keyword research visibility. When you leverage video-based content, prospective patients fully engage with your personal brand. They get the valuable information they're looking for, and they begin to establish rapport and relate to your personality and character qualities. The physician with an optimized channel publishing the right content gets found. The physician without it stays invisible. This isn't distinct to building an audience. This is about being found at the moment a patient is making a high-stakes decision. The physicians who fail on YouTube are often solving the wrong problem. They're chasing views and subscribers instead of ranking for the searches their ideal patients are actually making. YouTube is not a social media platform. It is a digital library where active patients are walking in ready to find the selection that is going to serve their needs. Okay, it's a patient acquisition search engine. Once you become aware of YouTube's power and its potential for your business, everything changes. Barrier 2, competence. Even committed physicians who are all in on being on camera get overwhelmed by the creator skill stack. One thing that surprises most of my clients is how much is actually required to run a converting YouTube channel. Keyword research, channel architecture, scripting, on-camera delivery, lighting, audio, thumbnails, titles, descriptions, tags, captions, chapter markers, SEO optimization, lead capture, analytics. Each of these is its own discipline. Mastered individually, they're manageable. Confronted simultaneously while running a surgical practice, absolutely paralyzing. Surgeons became ensnared in the tyranny of small decisions. This is why physicians take the wrong approach of overinvesting in gear and then stop. Not because they gave up, they've entered into a domain that is completely outside of their field of expertise and, quite frankly, their comfort zone. They hit a wall of compounding complexity that just kills momentum. And every hour spent in the creator learning curve is an hour not spent in the OR, not running your practice, not spent doing the work that they actually love. This creates a tension that can lead to extreme levels of frustration and anxiousness because you know video marketing is crucial to meet patients where they are, but you don't have the time or the bandwidth to become a full-time creator on top of running a practice. The solution isn't to learn the full stack, it's to build the team or the system that handles it. The physicians who succeed on YouTube are rarely the ones who learned everything themselves. They're the ones who show up on camera as the evangelist for their brand, the passionate practitioner that patients immediately connect with, and everything else is handed off to the experts with proven models of success. Now let's talk about the strongest barrier in the invisible expert stack. Barrier 3, confidence. Camera confidence is one of the biggest hurdles when getting started on YouTube, even for top performers. Surgeons are used to precision and control. The OR is a high-stakes environment where they are unambiguously the authority. A camera is something entirely different, an unfamiliar audience of zero feedback, where the usual interpersonal dynamics or traditional signals of competence don't apply. For professionals who communicate primarily in one-on-one consultations with patients they know, speaking to a lens in an empty room is neurologically foreign. The brain registers that uncertainty as threat, so the result can be freezing, dullness in delivery, anxiousness, analysis paralysis. And here's what most physicians don't know. The anxiety you feel on camera is all self-perception through something called the spotlight effect, which essentially means that you are overanalyzing how much people might be paying attention to your own perceived flaws. But research consistently shows that self-reported anxiety has almost no correlation with performance quality. Put simply, you feel worse than you actually look. This is the most common self-limiting belief that many must overcome. Camera confidence has proven one of the most common and daunting barriers when it comes to getting started on YouTube, not only for physicians, but for high performers and experts of the highest caliber across any domain. So much so that I have an academy dedicated exclusively to helping members overcome crippling camera fear and challenges in their delivery. All based on my experience directing thousands of subjects on camera and coaching hundreds of students each week in our group calls and one-on-one from around the world. The goal is to eliminate camera fear once and for all so you can feel fully confident as the passionate, decorated expert you are and show up with confidence for the patients who need you most. I'll link those details below. Remember, confidence is a skill built through repetition, not through waiting to feel ready. The physicians who show up well on camera are not the ones who felt ready first. They're the ones who took imperfect action and recorded consistently. The action of confidence comes first, the feelings of confidence come later. Barrier 4, structure. Let's use the library metaphor from earlier. A channel without architecture is like having the world's most valuable books, full of rich, life-saving information, but no shelves to place them on and to organize them, and no system so that discerning patients can come into the library and find the topics that they're looking for. This is the barrier most physicians never even know exists because they approach YouTube like social media with post and pray approach, or they turn their channel into a video hosting platform. A high-performant YouTube channel requires intentional infrastructure before the first video is ever filmed. Deep keyword research specific to your specialty and geography, strategic content positioning that puts you in front of the right patients at the right moment, playlist architecture that keeps viewers watching and compounds your channel's authority, a content roadmap built around the searches your patients are actually making, a lead capture path that converts viewers into patient inquiries, just to name a few. Without this structure, videos are disconnected, unoptimized, and impossible for YouTube's algorithm to categorize. Without this strong foundation, an effective video strategy on YouTube cannot exist. Building the infrastructure first is the part most done-for-you agencies skip because it's slower, harder, they don't have the real expertise, and it doesn't pay off on day one. They'd rather just collect checks, rush the edits, and start spraying and praying on YouTube. But this is the hinge point. You have to get the infrastructure right and everything else follows and compounds from there. If you skip that, everything collapses like a house of cards. Barrier 5, systems. This is the real unlock. A physician can clear awareness, they understand how YouTube is a search engine, they can have competence, they have the skills of their team for the creative stack. They can even have confidence. They're showing up on camera consistently. They can clear structure. The channel is built and optimized correctly. And then life happens. A heavy surgery week, a family obligation, a demanding patient situation. The first missed upload becomes two. Two becomes a month. The channel stalls. The authority that was beginning to compound resets. The invisible expert stack doesn't snag at the first 4 barriers alone. It collapses at systems. Because even a physician who clears every other barrier hits the reality of sustained execution inside an already full professional life. A system is an end-to-end machine that makes ideation, scripting, filming, production, publishing, and tracking frictionless enough to maintain without heroic effort. The physician shows up on camera for 60 to 90 minutes per week. The system handles everything else. Without that system, YouTube becomes one more critical task that you feel guilty about. With proven models and a professionally built system, it becomes a compounding asset that runs entirely on your behalf, whether or not you're thinking about it. So let's put this together. Most physician YouTube attempts fail because they hit one or more of these 5 barriers, and because they try to solve a system problem by white-knuckling their way into video creation and YouTube. They post more, they try harder, they buy better equipment, and none of it moves the needle because the actual problem, the missing keyword strategy, the absent infrastructure, the lack of a system that removes friction, is never addressed. The physicians who succeed on YouTube don't succeed because they're more committed than the ones who failed. They succeed because they built the foundation first. They had the right infrastructure in place before a single video was filmed, and they had a system that made consistency inevitable rather than heroic. That's it. That's the whole difference. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. If you tried YouTube and got nothing, you didn't fail, your system failed you. For many of you, it's a system you needed, but you weren't even aware it existed. The invisible expert stack is not a list of your weaknesses, it's a proven marketing diagnostic, a map of exactly where the gap is between your real-world expertise and your digital presence, and what has to be built to close that gap. Awareness, competence, confidence, structure, systems. Clear all 5, and you don't just have a YouTube channel. You have a 24/7 patient acquisition machine that compounds every month, builds trust before patients ever visit your office, and positions you as the undisputed authority in your market. That is what this channel is about. That is what the physicians and high performers I work with are building. If you want to go deeper on any of these barriers, I'm breaking down each one in its own dedicated video. Subscribe and you won't miss them. And if you're a physician who is ready to stop trying to build this alone and wants to understand what a done-for-you YouTube patient acquisition system looks like for your specialty, click the link below. Book a strategy call with my team, and we'll show you exactly what's possible. No pitch, no pressure, just clarity. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video.